You cannot stop us. We will take the power that we deserve.
We'll see about that.
First one.
Hey, how are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope the holidays are treating you right. I hope you're surrounded by people that at least tolerate you. That's about all we can ask nowadays, right? Yeah, I made a new build. Yes, it's a monk. Yes, it's a bit of a meme. And yes, it functions. First off, I'd like to welcome you to my Kiwi farm, because that's... Wait a minute. Kiwi farm sounds familiar. Anyway, so I'm sitting here with this monk, and I wanted to make Galvanic Shards work. I've had some people ask me about Galvanic Shards. I've had people coming into my stream, and they always say that they tried to get it to work, but it didn't feel like it was functioning the way they wanted, or it wasn't scaling well. I'll show you what I did with it, and if you're interested, I can do maybe a build guide. Again, this is not a build guide. I don't want people to get confused and think that this is end all be all. There's a lot of room to grow, just like my last build. There's a lot of things that you can tweak, and you could get better gear. My gear isn't even the best. I am using one item that is a little bit expensive. It's a couple of divines. However, you don't need it for the build to function. I would say that a build not using that unique could go more damage oriented, and it would be just as fine. It would be fine. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the different sheets as per usual, let you take a look at them, and if this build intrigues you, watch to the end, because I'm going to have some clips. I did a Citadel boss, which was the count from the first act, so it was the Iron Citadel, I think it is. I did that one, and I hadn't even tweaked my character, and I think I was level 85 at the time. I can't remember. I don't have my last two ascendancy points, and I have a couple pieces of gear that need to be tweaked. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Number 1, 69 evasion. Nice. Fortunately, this is low because I've been tweaking and moving my points around to try to optimize the damage. I wanted to get the damage to a point where I felt comfortable. That can be changed, and I'll show you how you can do that. Again, this is just a template. I don't want you to think that you have to have the same kind of gear as me. You can get way better crossbows. I'm using the crossbows from my other build, and I'll show you here in a second. Everything else is pretty standard. We're capped on all of our resistances as per usual. Got a little bit of armor. I don't remember where that comes. Oh, it comes from my chest. But that will end up going away, and you're going to want to go more evasion. I'll show you here shortly. Next thing up is the tree. You're going to see that this tree is kind of all over the place, but this is about what the tree is going to look like when you get to the point that I'm at. You want to pick up as much crit as possible. Crit is very difficult to get when you're non-melee, and it's also difficult to get without using some tech that allows you to get power charges and then take those power charges via a buff, a spirit reservation buff that that takes the power charges and makes them give you an inherent 18%. I think it is. I think that was like level 18. I'm pretty sure it goes up to 20%. So you can get 20% per power charge. You could stack power charges and all sorts of stuff, but it's not easy to get to unless you're able to consistently freeze and electrocute things. But you would do the frenzy charges from that, and then you would come up to, where is it at? I don't remember where it's at. It's somewhere up here. Oh, it's right here. Resonance. So that way you would transfer your frenzies over to, your power charges instead of your frenzy charges. So you would get, you'd be able to get that and then some power charges on the board here. I don't know if I think that's what you scale to. So that's how you would do that. And it's not something that I was able to consider because, again, we don't electrocute or freeze. We don't even do cold damage. We don't do fire damage. We have a little bit of it in the build because it's more of an accident, but you'll see what I mean. But we do happen to get enough crit for it to function. I will show you here in a second. This wheel here is awesome. I took all of this. This makes up for some of the attack speed that we're losing. A lot of crit. Coming Calamity, I think this is just a good thing. If you have any of the Heralds, I think this is just an absolute banger of a skill. This is something that in my other build you would want to use because you would get 50% on all three because you're using all three. In this build, we only use Light Thunder. I try to get as many sockets as possible because you want to get crit hit chance on attacks and then anything else that works for your build on all the jewel sockets. I come down and get your instant reload, pretty standard stuff. This might be droppable if you got a 6-link and put the 60% reload speed in it. That might help, and it would save up a bunch of points. You would lose a socket, though. More crit. We take this because there are times where we're not doing crits. It's just inevitable. You take this to just make up for that, and you're going to be getting a ton of damage that way. This is not too good because we're only getting 107 intelligence right now, but it is per 5. So, I mean, you're looking at, what is that? 40% damage right now? So you're getting 40% damage just for this. This is a strong node, by the way. As long as you can just get yourself a little bit, and then every 10 int or every 10 of whatever your lowest is just going to increase that even more. Anyway, of course, the crossbow node. I will now bring up the skills. We are doing the crossbow tech of swapping crossbows and being able to do left click, right click, or if you're on a console, you can use your whatever trigger buttons that you use, like if you use the shoulder buttons or whatever the case may be. This will be the next point, by the way, when I hit 88, I think. Yeah, when I hit 88, this will be the next point. So we're using Unbound Avatar. We have skill effect duration. And then we have all of these. Skill effect duration is really strange because it was showing an increase. I'm going to have to take a look at that. I might have the wrong thing in here. Yeah, that's really weird because I had this in here before and it was showing an increase. Now it's not. I don't know what's going on. Well, I'll take a look at that. That's not a big deal. Galvanic Shards. We got about 5k DPS. That's 5k per shard. You're hitting with 8. So it's 8 shards, each doing 5k. And then the beam is doing almost 40k. So the beam that occurs from them when they shatter is doing 40,000 damage. And that's just sheet damage. That's not including some of this stuff here where things take more damage. This is another wheel that you're going to want to eventually take, I think, depending on how close you can get to 90% breakpoint for evasion. Then we got Shockburst rounds. Now look at, like I said, these are only 5 links right now. Our Shockburst rounds are at 24, almost 24k. And our pulse is 163k. All you have to do is left click until the enemy is shocked, right click, and they blow up. You're not even relying on the tech of having the triple heralds or any of that stuff. Granted, the herald stuff is really powerful and much stronger, but I was able to tweak this to get to a point where the damage numbers do look okay, I'd say. The rest of this stuff is your typical setup. You got your emergency reload, you got your voltaic mark, overwhelming presence, herald of thunder. This one is set up with blind and maim. However, I would actually recommend Wind Dancer having this. That way you can... I'll actually just switch it. That way, whenever you get hit and you have charges, you'll end up with maiming and slowing the enemies. It's really beneficial. One weird thing about this, as well as a handful of skills in the game, it doesn't have a quality. I put quality on it, but there's no quality like result. You don't get anything for it. Beam, that, no. There's no well, wait a minute, hold on. Ammunition. Oh. Okay. Well, for some reason it's on this screen. So you're getting an extra 2 bolts loaded per clip, which means that you get 7 total per clip. They really need to move this over to the main screen. This one here is also qualityed. Loaded per clip, you get an extra 7. It puts us up to, I think it's like 22 total, something like that. And yeah, that is the build. I will show you the gear real quick. I'm using the same crossbows from my other build. These need to have crit hit on them. You want them as high as possible. This one only has the 2.44. You want it to be as high as you can get it. And the rest of it is just damage. Physical damage. Elemental with attacks is okay. But you would like to get a higher phys damage roll on this. Same here. This would be good if the crit bonus was actually crit chance and a higher phys damage. You could get this much higher. You can get this much higher. They're still good. They still function. My helm is pretty good. It's got a chaos resist. You want to get a critical hit chance on it. You want to get crit everywhere you can just to try to get as high of crit as possible because you want to crit as much as possible. It's beneficial mainly because of this node here. It ignores monster elemental resistances. We don't take a lot of penetration anywhere, so this is actually very beneficial. And then we take Unbound Avatar. That's the 4 points. The last 2 points will go into here, but that has to do with a new chess piece. This chess piece is really, really good. It's not that expensive. This one cost me 1 divine and had the resistances and spirit per socketed rune. This helped me out. This would be better as a full evasion chest. with the highest evasion rolls as possible, and then you would get it with as much resistance as possible as well, and then you'd have to just kind of balance your gear around it. This was also a really good. Unfortunately, it rolled spell damage when I hit it with the Nexalt, but everything else on this is actually extremely good. The strength could go away, and you could lower the level of some of your gems, and this would be totally fine with a resistance on it. Probably be beneficial. This is actually pretty decent. You want fizz damage, not lightning. It's going to get you more damage with fizz than it will be with lightning. There's also a low lightning roll, so this is the same ring for my other build. Boots, you want to have everything to balance out. You want your resistances, you want your movement speed, and you want the highest life and evasion you can get on them. These just happen to be really, really good. So this is the expensive piece of the build right now. I recommend it because the vast majority of the crit we're taking is not taking critical damage, and that means these gloves are excellent. They give you a bunch of crit, they give you some attack speed, some dex, some evasion, and then your critical damage bonus is always 300%. So no matter what, every time you crit, it's a 300% multiplier. That's what you want because it balances out the points that we're spending. This here is actually extremely good. The fire resist is kind of low, but it's got good life. It's got 2 charm slots. And yeah, you just want to go with whatever balances your build out. The charm slots are extremely helpful, but it's not necessary. In fact, getting the charm slots like this may be beneficial to go with some charm nodes on the tree. You're going right by them on the pathing. So, but that's it. This chest can be replaced with high evasion and resist, and that way, when we take this, we'll be able to get even more spirit. In fact, if I take it now, we get. I think it's like 220 spirit, and then you can put in another skill, and probably make it even stronger, even defensive wise. So there's a lot of benefits to having spirit, and this is going to be for later. Otherwise, you saw the damage, you saw everything. I'm again making sure you know, not a build guide. This is just what I've done. If you guys would like a build guide, if you really like this idea and want to pursue it or what have you, and would like a build guide, maybe even a leveling guide, I have no problem doing that. It might be something cool for me to do. I haven't done it yet. Also, if you have any skills out there or ascendancies or something that isn't getting utilized a lot and you'd love to see another build, and you have even an inkling of an idea that you'd like to see me give a shot at, go ahead and post it in the comments. I'll sit down and start brainstorming an idea and see what I can do. Otherwise, I hope again that you're having a good time during this holiday season. I hope all of your loot is dropping with a nice big bow on top of it. And enjoy the clips at the end, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.
What's up?
boss is fucked. Boss is all fucked because it likes to like aim at his arm for some reason. I don't know what the hell that is. But that is a tier 15 boss with 72% more monster life. Not the highest damage, but sure. Well, there's one. Ooh. Oh, wow. Interesting. Let's go get the other one. I think it was over here. I hate this. This makes me so itchy. Why? Why? They don't do anything. Ah, it's so fucking gross. Look at him. Look at him go. Ugh. GGG and their tentacles.